Film Festival.
Thanks very much. Well, God bless you for coming. I was afraid there'd be no one here. Can you imagine, like, going to one of these things and, like, no one shows up? It's just me and him sitting there. Well, isn't this great?
You come from a Chicago family, a blue-collar family. Your father's a fireman, your mother was a poet and a playwright. I mean, is it too obvious to say that she was the one that kind of nurtured your creative side?
Well, they say that about Adolf Hitler, so, you know, I hesitate to grab that same ideology, but
Yeah.
I think, in fact, it's probably a really good thing that my dad was, you know, very stubborn, strict, hard, tough guy who really, my dad really did not have the time of day to give to anyone. He, you know, he was pretty hardcore. And my mom, on the other hand, was exactly the opposite. You know, she was very self-taught, you know, really incredibly intelligent. I kind of, you know, wasn't really very good in school. And I was a miserable student, and I just hated the whole idea of, you know, of school. And I just didn't get it. And, you know, very early on, I remember jumping out the window in my kindergarten class because there was a girl, her name was Denise, and she had this little pink skirt that she used to wear. And I kept pulling up her skirt, you know, and I wanted to see her panties. And in your kindergarten, it's really not cool, you know. I was a little young to be doing that. But anyway, I kept getting in trouble for that, and the teacher at one point told me that I was going to be put into a spanking machine, you know. And I was terrified, really, you know, because I pictured this giant iron contraption that I was going to be strapped into this fucking thing, and that it was going to start whacking me in the ass. And I was really, you know, she really put the fear of God into me. You know, in high school, you can't play sports unless you're getting a certain kind of grades anyway. And I would have, you know, my dad didn't want me to play any sports because he didn't play any sports because he went to work when he was 14 years old, and he expected I was going to do the same thing. And so I pretty much did.
So, taking us through to the 80s here, things are beginning to come together. There's a few TV roles, there's some good films and some smaller roles for you. Thelma and Louise, The Doors, Val Kilmer, and Kill Me Again, I think it was another Val Kilmer movie.
I did
Val Kilmer?
Well, Val's wife, well, that's another story. But you got me there, man. That wasn't cool. Anyway, Kill Me Again was before The Doors. And the funny thing about Kill Me Again was that one of the producers of that was a guy named David Warfield. And David Warfield's girlfriend at the time was Callie Corey. And she was writing Thelma and Louise. We shot Kill Me Again in Las Vegas. And she was writing Thelma and Louise when we were in Vegas. And later, you know, years later, when I went in to meet Ridley for that thing, she reminded me of one time when I was walking through the casino, and she was sitting in this little cafe and writing Thelma and Louise. And I remember seeing her sitting there, and, you know, they wanted me to play the rapist in Thelma and Louise, and I didn't want to play that part. Well, when I first got it, the thing, the people representing me told me not to make it. They said that it was a first-time director, and that I was taking a big chance by doing a picture like that because, you know, it probably wouldn't go anywhere and nobody would like it. And I asked her what it was about, and she said it was about some guys that rip off a jewelry store, but you never actually see the heist happen, and that all the guys are named after colors, and that at the end everybody kills each other. And I said, wow, that's pretty, you know, sounds thrilling. I don't know. And it actually sounded kind of cool to me. But I, you know, back then I thought that everybody that in Hollywood were geniuses. And, you know, little did I know that I was represented and surrounded by a lot of folks who really didn't know fuck all about what they claimed to know. And it was a good thing I didn't listen to them that time. I wanted to play Mr. Pink because he had a lot more dialogue and a lot more scenes with Harvey. And I loved Harvey, and I thought that he was a great actor, and I wanted to have more to do with him. And when we were getting ready to do that thing, you know, I kept saying, look, you know, if you say this kind of thing to me, I'm going to come after you. And he kept saying, well, you know, you should. And I said, well, you know, you should make me mad enough to do that. And so he added a lot of things to the dialogue. All I can think of is that the day we did that, I really didn't know. I had no predetermined plan of what we were going to do. And I know that when I cut that thing off and I walked out of frame with it, Quentin was standing next to the camera, and he was going, throw it, toss the ear, throw the ear. Get rid of it, Michael, get rid of it. And I really didn't want to, because subconsciously I was trying to think of something to do with the damn thing, you know? And so I just thought speaking into it would be, you know, it's an ear, you know, hey, you know, it was just something I thought of at the spur of the moment, and then I threw it, you know. But I'm just saying, you asked me the question about my kids, and I would say that I would rather that they be doctors and discover a cure for some horrible disease, or that they become a scientist and, you know, figure out why in the name of God we're all here, you know, and or lawyers, because they're the ones that make all the money. I was in Vancouver. I was staying at the Four Seasons Hotel, and Pacino was there because he was doing Insomnia. And I was walking through the lobby, and he was in the lobby. And I seen him, and I said, you know, he was really cool. He hugged me, and I said, wow, you know, how are you doing? He says, I'm shooting Insomnia, and I can't sleep. And you know, he was trying to be funny. He was always making jokes, and bad jokes. And anyway, he went upstairs, and then later on, I saw his assistant. He has a guy working with him constantly for many, many years. And he says, what are you doing, Mike? And I said, oh, well, you know, I got a couple of days off, and I don't know what to do, and I want to go home and see my kids, but I can't afford it. You know, I can't get on a plane and all that. I had to come back and everything. And he goes, well, let me talk to Al. And I said, well, okay. And sure enough, you know what? I get this call, and it's Al on the phone. He's like, Michael. I'm like, what? He goes, I got a jet. I'm like, you got a what? He goes, I got a jet. I got my own jet. I'm like, oh my God, you got a fucking jet? And he's like, yeah. And I go, well, that's pretty cool, Al. I wish I had one. You know, what kind is it? You know, I didn't know where the conversation was going. And basically what he did was he let me hitch a ride with him back to Los Angeles, because he had a couple of days off too. And then I got to see my kids, and I got to see that blonde up there. And then I turned around, and then he flew me back to Vancouver when I was finished.
But I want again to thank you very much for coming down here to Raindance, and I want you to thank Michael Madsen, the coolest man on the planet.